Some are very focused on the service. Some are very focused on just the sales. Some are very focused on their people, their culture. And what is important to you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner?
Are you born and raised in Omaha?
Nope. So I'm an Iowa boy. So I'm from north central Iowa out in the sticks, called Lake Mills,
Okay.
Iowa. So, yeah, my whole family's from north central Iowa. But my wife is from Fremont, and that's why I'm now living in Nebraska.
So who do you root for with college sports?
It's always Hawkeyes. I sigh because we're a split household. So my wife is a Husker. She went to UNL.
Yeah.
I have two boys, Wyatt and Hawk. And well, if you're listening, boys, there you go. There's your shout out. But Wyatt likes the Hawkeyes, and Hawk kills me. He likes the Huskers.
He was born wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that is that's a bit tough, but I'm glad that mom has somebody on her side,
Okay.
to root for the other team.
All right. Okay. So what keeps you in Nebraska? Just the family situation then, or?
Yeah, I like Omaha. I mean, I've lived here. I think I've lived in Nebraska, I think almost maybe longer now than I lived in Iowa. So,
okay.
And I've lived in some other states too, but yeah, I probably lived here the most.
Yeah,
I like here.
Yeah, perfect.
Good place to
home
raise a kid, raise kids, and wife's family's here.
When I was growing up, that's what everybody said. They're like, it's such a good place to raise a family. I'm like, I don't have one. New York sounds awesome. Like, I like. Get older, you're like, wow, New York stinks. Just for me, sorry, New Yorkers. I know.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago for a bit, and it's like that's not for me. I like it out here.
Oh,
I mean, I wish we had some more, attractions. Like, if we had some mountains to climb, or even some big hills, that would be great.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah. I wish we had that, but like we got a lot of other cool things. We got a great zoo, and we got a great business community, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Like there's a really good business community. Well, that's how I met you. And there's great dining here. There's some really great restaurants. I had, like one of my favorite things here is, you ever get those? I think it's called Les Petites, the croissants.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in Omaha. So, I have no affiliation with them, by the way. I just really like them.
Yeah.
But there's just great dining and great people, and some fun stuff to do around here.
No,
so.
Omaha, and what I've come to find too, because so many people we work with aren't from here. Mm-hmm. And the folks that we started going to Chamber of Commerce events this year, and the amount of people that are just so proud to be from Omaha, to stay in Omaha, it's really cool. Like I feel like the only other city I see that with is Detroit. People are really proud to be from Detroit. Everywhere else, like, yes, I live in LA. I hate it. Yeah. Like, I'm in Chicago. I wish I wasn't.
I don't think you could pay me enough to live in LA.
No.
I think there's just
you could pay me enough, but like
nah, I don't think so. I don't think I could do it. I was like, nah, there's just not enough money in the world to make me want to go through that traffic.
No, you get a
life
chopper.
Life is too short. I don't okay. Well, fair enough. If I had enough money, I would have a chopper, and I would just do that. But
fly around LA.
Yeah, I do wish our weather was better sometimes, at times, but the spring and the fall in the Midwest, kind of can't beat it.
And it's a pretty easy, if you have a good idea in a place like Nebraska, something sparks in your mind, it's pretty easy to prosper here. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. See what I did there? It's pretty terrible, dad transition of the day. So take me through what idea, what clicked, how did Prosper Spark come to be?
Oh man, that's not a quick answer. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those things where, I was working a job at a decent company. I didn't love it. It wasn't a good fit. At some point you realize like, I shouldn't be here, and you should, we get philosophical here on a Friday, but I believe that you do your best work when you like what you do. Like I would imagine you probably like making podcasts, right? Makes you good at what you do. And so I love saving people time. Like that is what I really love doing. I'm a builder. I like to build things, building businesses. I'm a woodworker. And so my story to get to where I was is like, I wasn't liking what I was doing. So for me, I just needed to make that switch and do something that I love doing. And I found that I really liked working for myself. And so quit my job. I started a business, didn't have a client, didn't have a company logo, didn't have anything really. And And you should not do that. I mean, if anybody's listening to this, don't do that. That's not good advice.
Did you
and
have
I try to
kids
tell
in
people
time?
that too. Like people are like, oh, well, that's great. It's like, no, you shouldn't do it that way. Just because I did that way doesn't mean that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But it worked out, so far here. And, but yeah, my story was just about, I needed to do something that I liked. I needed to do something that I enjoyed and that I cared about. And I think that's largely why we've had some bit of success. So, yeah.
So did you have kids? Were you married when you just made the jump and did it, or did you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how old they were. So we had a newborn. He was, I think our youngest was under 1. And then we had a 3-year-old approximately. So it was not the best timing either. But yeah,
that's terrifying, actually.
It is. It is terrifying because, like we had, luckily my wife had a great job at the time.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of stress there, especially those first 2 years. It's stressful every year owning a business. But one thing that as you asked that question, I think through it is I had known for a while that I wanted to do my own thing. I think I'd realized that I've told people this story many times, but like 5 years prior, I kind of knew, I was like, I kind of want to do my own thing. I don't know what that is. And then when that happened back in 2018, 8 years ago, it just made sense. I was like, we started doing spreadsheets for people. And that sounds so, probably sounds lame to a lot of people, but, we added a lot of value, early on and still do, and just making people's lives easier. And that was really fun. And I got paid for it. It was like, this is a win-win. So,
and when you say doing spreadsheets for people, what does that mean?
Yeah. And so that's a great question. So even today, when people reach out to us, it is a variety of things. We're like, well, what trends do you see? We see all sorts of things. There are some common things we see over and over again, but, helping somebody with a spreadsheet can take on a lot of different meanings. And that's a very, very generic phrase. But like you think about what a business analyst does, that's what we do, right? So compiling reports, automating different tasks, right? Doing some ad hoc analysis, maybe giving something to a C-suite or senior management that on a regular basis. So creating tools and sometimes even just doing that work for people. We will, a lot of times, clients will put us on retainer and we'll be a business analyst for people for maybe a short period of time or maybe multiple years in some cases. And so there are times where they just need support. And there are times where, hey, Brodrick, I have a project and I need you to do this thing, right? And so that thing might mean, a good example is like a financial model. So a client may say, hey, I'm a plumbing company and I'm thinking about expanding to different states or maybe buying another plumbing company. What does that look like? And building that financial model to plug in different, situations and model out different scenarios for them. Working with real estate type companies where they want to value different buildings. And there's a client that we work with where they're doing that for multi-million-dollar buildings and deals across some pretty large metropolitan areas. And they use our tools. And there's like 50 plus users that do that. So sometimes the ask is very simple and just they need some support. Sometimes it's just a very simple project where you're taking data from one system, doing something, massaging it, transforming it. So it can be imported into another system. But it can mean a lot of things. And we do more than just spreadsheets. And I know that we'll probably talk about that here later. But that's how it started, was just doing those sorts of things for clients.
Now, data is interesting in that we do a lot with data here too, in terms of not what you do, but YouTube gives a lot of data and metrics. And there's a lot of things where you can make data sing and you can make data mean all sorts of things, but that doesn't mean the two things you put together are statistically significant or have any sort of positive correlation. So if someone's asking you to run a financial analysis and you take a data set or tons of subsets of data, how are you ensuring that you're driving results that are statistically meaningful? Yeah.
So every business is different. That's kind of like that's a big question, right?
Yeah.
And that there's no great way to give in my opinion, a great simple way to answer that, because because every business is unique and different, even the same that are in the same field. Like we work with so many different construction companies. Of our 600 plus clients, a large chunk of them are construction. We work with every industry, but one that does dirt moving in the Midwest, right? And it's almost the exact same size and type of business, they operate differently, and they may have different ways that they want to approach things. So when you ask, how do you ensure that they are meaningful? Well, it depends on how that business wants to run their business. So some are very focused on, and I'm very much so oversimplifying this, but some are very focused on the service. Some are very focused on just the sales. Some are very focused on their people, their culture. And so what metric is more meaningful has a lot to do with the choices up at the top, regardless of what the data has, the quality of the data. So it starts, I think, at the top. Like what is important to you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, right? And so that is why that it is different. So how do you ensure that? Then it becomes a bit more technical, right? So it starts at the top of what metrics you're choosing to track, but then it's a matter of like, okay, well, how do we keep that data clean, right? So how do we make sure there aren't duplicates? How do we make sure that, the outliers, are they outliers because that's a real data point, or that is maybe not an invalid data point, right? Where somebody fat fingered a number, right? Or somebody created a record that doesn't have any information in it. And so doing things to minimize those, hopefully eliminate, but minimize those at the very least, can ensure that your data is accurate. And then determining what metrics, though, again, a lot depends on leadership, but then we will oftentimes suggest different things like, hey, here's some trends that we see from the data, and here are some things that will probably move the needle for you, right, based on what we see. Because at the end of the day, people do business with us because there's an ROI.
Yeah.
They don't do it because they love my haircut, right? They do it because
I would work with you for your haircut.
Well, that's great.
So no, but when you started, why spreadsheets specifically? Why did you say, I'm going to throw away, I don't want to say throw away, but I'm going to gamble here on myself, and spreadsheets, saving people time. This is the wave. And how many years ago did you say this was?
8 years ago.
Okay.
Yep.
So pre-generative AI.
Yep.
Why spreadsheets?
Yeah. I had always really liked them. And B, like, I have yet to find a business that doesn't use spreadsheets in a particular way. And just whether it be a Google sheet or a spreadsheet, I mean, or a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, I think every business uses them. And so I think the universal nature of it, I think, is very appealing. Like, oh, this is something everybody uses, and it is a useful tool, and it's been around for 40 plus years now. I think we're, I don't know what the number is, but 40 some years for spreadsheets. That was very appealing. Yeah. And I'm a builder at heart. I'm definitely nerdy. I have some nerd qualities. But because you can build a lot of really great things within Excel.
Yeah.
And because of, like I said, that universal nature, that's really appealing to me. And it just kind of took off. And I'd always been the Excel guy, wherever I went.
Yeah.
So
in my master's program, people asked, what was the big thing you got out of it? And I told everyone I learned how to use Excel. It's insane how powerful that platform is, and it became like my favorite. And like it's the foundation for so much of what we do. And people say, really? Media? Like, oh, absolutely. It's almost like the Bible for us. There's the core truths of things that we can pull just from a spreadsheet. Without it, a lot of the stuff we do would be meaningless because you need the data to operate for your strategies and everything else.
Yeah, to make good decisions. Yeah, and like I said, to be clear, we do a lot more now. Now we have kind of three main buckets, and that's just one bucket now. But they're, especially today, 2026, the spreadsheet is still not dead. Yes, there are a lot of other great tools, and AI is an enormous buzzword that everyone talks about. But there's still a lot of value, like you just mentioned, that you can get just from a spreadsheet. So
the spreadsheets are one of the buckets. The other two you're talking about, are they the systems, the automated services you provide?
Yep, you okay. Nice work.
All right.
Did your homework.
So what are those?
Yeah, so data, automation, and systems. So data, very generic term. If you can come up with a greater term, we'd be all ears there, Brodrick. But data, so spreadsheets, but also Power BI, Tableau, basically any business intelligence tool.
Okay.
A lot of the talent that we have on our team of 25, they have a lot of those skills transfer, right? Or in some cases, Power BI, the engine behind is Power Query. That same engine is within Excel. I'm giving the longer answer here since we're on a podcast, but the two other buckets, automation is making your systems talk to one another.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it, in any business, most businesses have a CRM. They have an accounting software, right? They might have something for marketing, like, maybe they have something for email, like a Constant Contact or something like that. They have maybe something for phone systems. The list goes on, right? Their tech stack could be large, but oftentimes they're going from one system to the other. We're doing this old school copy and paste method. And so what we do is we automate and make those things make sense. So can I give you a good example?
Yeah.
So the example I often give, and people that know me have heard this multiple times, but you send a contract out. So let's say you have a client, Brodrick, and you send out a DocuSign. And it could be any tool. It doesn't have to be. It could be Sign Now. It could be any of these other ones. These are just examples. You send it out, right? Well, once the client signs, let's say I sign, I'm your client, right? I sign it, right? That triggers an automation run. Well, that automation could be, oh, okay, well, Brandon just signed. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our CRM, mark that lead one or opportunity, whatever verbiage you like to use, upload the contract, update these fields. Maybe it's my address, whatever. Okay, well, now go into our accounting system, which might be QuickBooks Online or Sage or whatever, and say, hey, does Prosper Spark exist? Oh, no, they don't. Let's create Prosper Spark as a customer in QuickBooks. Let's create an invoice. Now let's send it to them because we need a deposit. Now go into Monday.com because we use Monday.com for onboarding new clients for podcasts. Okay, well, here's the template of tasks that we use. Create all these tasks from the template for bringing Prosper Spark on board. Okay, well, now we want to send an email to our team to say, hey, we just got this new client. Like, heads up, here, the tasks are in Monday. So you have that sent from Outlook, and it can look like it just came from you, like you typed it up, right? And the list goes on. So whatever that process looks like, we can automate those things so they happen just like that. So in that process example that I just gave, you've done nothing. The system has done all that for you, right? And the why you do that is because you're not paying someone to do that. It's more accurate. It's just a heck of a lot easier. And that means you can spend more time on things that actually matter, right? And like, regardless of people like hire us or whatever, just automating in general is just a really smart thing to do, especially in 2026. Your competitors are likely doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the third bucket is systems. So we do some specific systems consulting. So like Salesforce. We do a lot of Airtable consulting. Airtable is an awesome platform. We also do some work on a platform called Softr, Softr. If you haven't heard of it, the listeners that are listening in on this, is if you think about it this way, why people care, if you're wondering what these platforms are and what they do, Airtable is essentially a blank canvas that you can do whatever you want and create a project management tool, CRM tool. Softr is very similar, but it also allows you to do a few more, shall we say, more powerful things. Like, let me give you a good example. If you want a external portal for your customers, right, or clients, you can build it on this platform. If you have a database sitting somewhere in, BigQuery or Airtable or whatever, you take your database and Softr is your front end. And why people care if they're listening to this is because now you can create whatever you want, right, without having to have it custom coded from the ground up. So this is a great way to build like an MVP type tool or internal tool before you invest in that. And so in short, what we do is just my vision, and this is probably the more important response here, is we want to be a one-stop shop where if you have a problem with data, a problem with, a system, or making your systems talk to one another, a process, we want to be a one-stop shop. Basically, where IT ends, we want to be that next level of support. And we just want to be one place rather than you trying to coordinate with all these different freelancers. We just want to be a one-stop shop. And that's my goal. And that's what we're largely accomplishing.
So when you see the rise of AI and people sprinting to it to see how can I do all this myself, and how can I see so many business owners trying to engineer Claude to do a lot of and other AI platforms to do all of these services that we're talking about today, and thinking, oh, okay, I have it figured out. And it's not just using AI for content marketing, not just for workflows and emails. It's holistically everything. And I'm always seeing, it seems now, a year ago, it was every new company was an AI note taker. Now it's every new company has, whether it could be content strategy, workflow management. I mean, it's getting deeper and deeper. I have a lot of opinions on that, but I do think something that's less of an opinion, more of a fact, is every company moving forward, even if you're in consulting, technology doesn't matter, probably have AI at some point in the process integrated. And so I want to ask you about that. A, what are your thoughts on all these new AI players? And are there any competitors now that weren't around 8 years ago for you? And also, how are you integrating AI?
In terms of new players, there's a lot of fringe AI kind of solutions and platforms, maybe doing some ultra specific things. And so some will rise to the top, but I think a lot of them won't. They're not going to make it, right? They're just very saturated. But I think like the big players, you think about like OpenAI with ChatGPT and Claude and, Anthropic and, Perplexity is a great tool. Copilot has frankly came a long ways. It's a lot better than what it was a year ago, which is to say not very good, in my opinion. Sorry, Microsoft. But so there's a lot of I think those core players is where if I'm going to use AI for just in general a platform, I'm largely going to pick one of the big boys, right? One of the ones that are mainstays. And so the way we integrate AI, that was one of your questions. So, and we've been using this for a couple of years now, is if you go to our website and you book a call on our website, it will go into our CRM, create a client, create a company or a client, create a contact, create a lead, and then link those together. But one of the things it does, it says, oh, well, if your email is Brodrick at podpony.com, well, their website must be podpony.com. So our automation will parse that website, give me a 25-word description, put that in our CRM. It will classify the industry, put that in my CRM. If there's an address available, put that in their CRM. So if you become a client, the address will already be in the invoice. It does all that automatically. Now, that's just one use case. There's some other use cases like taking a contact us form. We do this, but we also have done this for clients where, hey, it reads the contact us form, based on that sentiment, classifies that service, right? And puts that service into our CRM, right, to follow up with, or that updates the service in that lead for us to follow up on. And we've done that for clients too. So your question was like, how do you integrate it today? Well, those are just a couple of examples, but there's several ways that you can do it. Another example is we have a client where, they process a bunch of invoices. And so the short version of this is invoice comes in, is emailed to an email address at an AP at, I won't say the client's name, but at suchandsuch.com. That triggers the automation to run. And AI will extract the information from those invoices, PO number, amounts, tax, so on and so forth, put that into a database, which we created, then a front end, Softr. They can then log in, full login credentials, secure. They can say approve, and it will put that into their ERP for payment, run their normal payment runs, or deny it or escalate it.
Mm-hmm.
So what that's done, right, is compressed that time frame to process those invoices. But your question was really about AI, and like AI plays a large role in that, yes, AI has been around for a long time, but like as far as being easy to deploy, that's came a long ways in the last couple of years. Your other question, I think, was how has it changed, I think, how we approach things or competitors? I think for most people I talk to a lot of business owners through just my network, but also just clients. Is most everyone's, I think, terrified to some degree. You should have, I think, a healthy level of fear. And we do too. But we're also really excited. And that's kind of a weird feeling, right? To be terrified and also excited at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, and I think this is part of your question, is like, how is that changing things? Is there's there's some fear that, hey, will you even need somebody like us to automate a process? And largely today, if you really lean into agentic workflows, which is where you connect your different platforms in and just tell an AI like, hey, when this information comes in, do these things, go figure it out. You could do that today. So there's certainly a healthy level of fear that takes away some of our job in the future, and it probably will. But I don't know if it will maybe take away, but I don't think it will completely get rid of that, because there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable just setting that up and knowing what prompts to write, how to test it, how to ensure that it's secure and that it runs the way it's intended.
Yep.
So are there some fears there? Of course there are.
Mm-hmm.
But it also opens up a lot of doors to do a lot of other really cool things for our clients and help them succeed using AI. So,
and one thing I would say to that is, I have a lot of tools to do woodworking, and I love woodworking.
Me too.
I think I'm okay at it.
Yeah.
I'm not building my shed this summer. I'm having a friend of mine who runs a construction company build our shed.
Bingo. Yep.
Someone could say, you've spent this much on all these tools. Why would you not do it? I said, well, it's also during conference season. I have these speaking engagements. I have this. My time is worth this. I got people starting up baseball practices and other things I got to go to. It's not worth me setting all of that up. Oh, and it's the first time I've ever done it. So there's probably going to be mistakes I make along the way. And if I miss any deadlines, I really can't afford to go back and do any rework. So it's probably actually going to end up saving me, because the question I had to ask myself in the beginning is, what's my time worth? And I would assume most of the people that are coming to you aren't these DIYers trying to gain insight.
Not generally.
Exactly. And so AI, in many ways, I still think is the same thing. If you're a person who's using AI to figure it all out, okay, well, maybe that's not exactly your target market. But they say, well, they've already figured it out. They know what the prompts are. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to them for their expertise, and they know how to not mess it all up, right? So now, along the lines of change and messing things up, when people add more than one service, if you started out with spreadsheets, now we're looking at services and automation. Now you're adopting AI because you have to. Well, my question is,
we want to. But
you want to,
it's
but
fun.
But yeah, it's fun. But if you weren't doing it 10 years from now, you'd probably be behind other people who
Oh,
are.
yeah, 100%.
Right? So when you're looking at adding other services like automation and systems, did you just want to do it? Did a need arise where you had to do it? Where did this come into play where you thought, this is something we do pretty okay. Let's add these into our KPIs.
Yeah. Oh, man, how did it? It was a very natural progression. Like, it wasn't like one of the things that's very difficult in what we do is, well, one, the elevator pitch of explaining what we do in a short period of time. And I think you and I talked about when we met. It's like, if you're a plumber and you say, well, hey, what do you do? Well, I'm a plumber. You're like, oh, okay. Well, I know what you do. Well, when you ask me that, that's a little bit harder thing, right? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is, like, when you think about your question is like, how did that arise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, it was really a natural progression of, like I just said a minute ago, of, okay, well, you're doing spreadsheets. Yeah, but we have all these other systems we want to connect to.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, and 8 years ago, we're like, well, sorry, we don't really do that right now. And then you start hearing that enough times, you're like, oh, all right, we should probably add this service because we're just getting too many people that are asking this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you find the right people to do that, and you add those services. And I don't know if that answers the question. I think, I think your question is like, how did it arise? And it was more of a natural progression. and we're trying to be really careful, hopefully we're succeeding, is how do you ensure that you're not trying to be everything to everyone, right? And, staying focused enough on the areas in which you are strong in, but not so narrow where you can't expand your company and scale further. And I think for us, that's been, that's always a fine line to walk, and maybe more so for our line of business than others.
When people come to us, I had an advisor in Miami a few weeks ago. We were at this event. They had this speed dating format to meet with all the vendors. All right, the advisors could go for free, but you had to, almost like a timeshare gig. You had to meet with the vendors. So this guy, so this guy sits with me and says, "You're the third marketing agency I talked to today. Tell me why I should hire you." I said, "Well, statistically speaking, you probably shouldn't." I was like, "What?" I said, "Well, we help people with content marketing. 92% of businesses don't stick with content past 10 episodes, 10 weeks. Less than 1% stick it out past a year. You probably fall in that majority of those who aren't going to make it."
Yeah.
So, and he's like, tell a successful business owner they're not that 1%. Like, excuse me?
Yeah, like, hang on here.
And we tell people, well, it's an athlete, almost like an athlete-manager relationship. We want to find those who are going to win. So we need to see footage that, can you hoop? Can you play? Yeah. Make sure we're attaching ourselves to a horse that's going to win the race. So one of the problems we see when folks come in, and man, this was really sad. We had someone recently with an amazing show idea. We wanted to take them on.
Yep.
We had to push them away. They weren't ready for us. They didn't have the operational ability to scale. We learned that lesson really early on. We had a guy online crushing it. We got fired.
Yep.
Did too well, couldn't handle all the leads. So if you don't have the systems and automations and processes in place.
It's a good problem to have, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice work there.
Yeah. I was like, well, shoot, we have a bad business model. This is not working. What did I do? So my question for you, I think the most common misconception with business owners I meet is putting the cart before the horse, marketing and sales before ops. When people come to you, what's a misconception you think people often, like you see, you're like, oh my goodness, these people, maybe they're not ready for you. Maybe they did something wrong. What's a common problem you see with entrepreneurs who walk through your doors?
That maybe aren't ready for us or, okay. The easy one that sticks out is, there's a couple things really that stick out, but trying to do too much at once. In fact, I just had this conversation this morning. We had a call with a prospective client, and they're like, "Oh, I have all these different processes I need," and they've just discovered that automation exists, and I can make these things talk to one another, and they get excited, and they come to us, and we love the excitement. I love that passion. That's great. But one of the things that we do, and this is going to sound crazy, but we often tell them, like, you know what? Why don't you just do one of these things instead of all 7 at once? Yeah, but we need to do all of them. They all touch one another. Like, I'm sure they do.
Yep.
But the misconception is that it's good to like map everything out and get everything perfectly planned out, and let's map all the processes and let's figure out all this big, gigantic, Taj Mahal, systems, right? And processes. And I love that passion, but in practice, what I've found, and I'm sure there's people listening that will disagree, but if you map out all these things and it's going to take you 6 months, a year to do all of these, like totally overhaul your business, I can guarantee you that your business needs are going to change in that year.
Yeah.
And once you do 1 or 2 of these things, let's say there are 7 items, just picking a random number, you do 1 or 2 of these, I guarantee you it's going to affect those other items, and your needs will change based on that. And I've seen that over and over again. So I think the misconception is that you should do all these things at once, or, and that because all these different processes touch one another, that you need to, talk through all of them and make sure that everything is going to work out. And for us, it is good to have that background information, but I'm a big believer in start small, right? Crawl before you walk before you run. And if my team's listening to me, they've heard me say that so many times. I'm sure it's incredibly annoying, but that works. And it's a great way to do it in a very responsible way and have a better a better experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you help people prioritize those needs? Okay.
100%. I only hesitate for one reason. There are people that come to us that say, all right, here are the 10 scope items that we want done. Give me a price. Okay. In those cases, not a lot of prioritizing to do.
Yeah.
But when they do come to us with more of a generic, hey, I have some problems that need to be solved. Yes, we absolutely help them prioritize.
Yeah.
If they'll allow us.
I would. I think a lot of CEOs, my personality type, I love marketing, love sales, love being out there, championing the brand, talking to people. I'm not the most organized individual in the world. I don't want to be. Right? That's not what's made this successful to this point. And in fact, when I've spent too much time doing operational work on things like we're talking about today and just almost just feeling like it's a waste of time, it's not like going back to tasks that, well, what really is worth your time? Operations for me, it's not it. And having a system like Prosper Spark, if you have an operations manager, just making their lives so much simpler, not doing repetitive tasks, I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, the thing that, and we're not perfect, that there's like, I think sometimes this assumption that like we've got it all like perfectly, and my belief is like you're never done. So to your comment of like, hey, you need somebody like us and whatnot, you do need automation, but you're never really done, right? You're always trying to improve and improve and improve. And to that point of what you're talking about being organized and how do you prioritize those tasks, trying to think of the best way to word this, but when you think about how you should spend your time, if you're doing all this copying and pasting administrative things, if you just, a good practice is like just stop and write some of those things down. You're like, and I'm not perfect either. I'm a business owner. I'm still shiny objects get me distracted very easily.
Yep.
I think that is the nature of any business owner. And thankfully, I've got great people like Sean and Jessica and Blair on my team that remind me of like, hey, that's a shiny object. But if you sit down and write some of those things down and you say, okay, which of these does a human really need to look at, right? That list is going to get real small.
Yeah.
And if you can eliminate those things that a computer will frankly just do better, now you've freed your time up, freed time up to do just more high impact activities. Like if you had 2 hours more a day, this is not a sales pitch, I'm just saying, like if you had 2 hours more a day, could you close more clients? Yes, of course you could, right? And so that's the thing we tell clients is like, if you have time, is this going to allow you to move the needle in other areas? If the answer is no, you shouldn't hire us, right? You really shouldn't do this project. And occasionally that does come up. But like, well, no, we're just kind of wanting to coast for another 5 years before our owner retires. Well, okay, well, probably don't even need to do this. But if your goal is to grow, you have more time. Almost undoubtedly, the business will grow if you free up that time. It's like we've seen it over and over again.
Couple other questions for you before we wrap up. Where's Prosper Spark going in the next 10 years? Where do you hope to take it?
Boy, that's such a great question. It is exciting and scary at the same time, right? Because we've grown quite a bit, but there's still a lot of challenges, especially when when the economy maybe doesn't cooperate like it did last year. But who do we want to be and where do we want to go, right? That's something I'm very excited about. So for us, it is about how do we, I'm trying to break this down to smaller chunks here so I don't talk too long here, but we want to add more platforms and services that make sense. Right. So there are so many different software platforms that people use, and a lot of them are industry and niche specific. But what we want to do is like, okay, how do we find a few more of those to become partners of and, bring good, talent. All of our talent's based in the U.S. We have one Canadian as well. We do business in I think almost all the provinces there in Canada. But at any rate, how do we bring on more of those platforms? Because that feeds in really well to the other things we do. So if we're automating between platforms, why can't we help them also set up, say, well, I'll just use Salesforce or Airtable or pick any platform, HubSpot, right? if we can know a system inside and out, we can then automate even better. And it's just more of a one-stop shop for that client. And so where we're going is we're going to add more of that. I think, getting into more of the, again, AI is such a big buzzword, but there's so much opportunity there. Is just being able to be a place where people can come and, get advice and implement AI tools. That's certainly, for a firm like us, that's certainly on the horizon as well. But really, be very candid. The biggest thing is people. So we got to find the right people. I mean, that's how we've grown. I've been, I'll just say, lucky enough to hire some really, really talented people that have really, really helped us grow. And so finding the right people to perform those services really the key and that's where we're going, is just really trying to find the right people that will help take us to the next level. It sounds super cliche, but it doesn't mean it's not true. That's any business owner I've talked to, that's generally the resounding answer is they've hired smart people that know what they're doing. And adding more services definitely on the horizon. I think expanding and having stronger presence in other markets is also on the horizon. We do business nationally, but we'd like to have more of a local presence in a few more markets. So
now, like you said, it is Friday. It's time to get a little philosophic here on the podcast. Simon Sinek was able to, I think, trademark the whole "What's your why?" So can't say that, but we're the Biztape. We're a media company. So let's just say for a second, when your life's all said and done, it's made up into a cassette of songs. And you got to pick one song that you would hope best exuded your career. Everything you did.
I do not know if I can boil it down to one. I love music. I love all types of music. I'll tell you what, I don't know, because lyrically, I don't know if there's a song that would encapsulate it, but what I can tell you is tell you a few of my favorite artists and songs. Would that cover
it's a good start. It's a great way to make sure we get you as a repeat guest.
All right.
Song's gonna hit, and you're like, nah, I gotta come back. Biztape.
Well, I gotta tell you. So again, I love all types of music. Like if you look at my playlist, it's like classical, hard rock, rap, country, the whole 9 yards. Gonna go see at the Steelhouse. Gonna go see. Is it Stephen Wilson Jr. or Stephen Wilson Jr.? But really pumped about that. That's an artist I really like. A band I really, really like is Whiskey Myers. You ever heard of Whiskey Myers? Big fan of those guys. Seen them 3-4 times. But I definitely on a country kick lately. The last bit. So that's definitely more of my soundtrack of life right now is a lot of country music.
Let's reverse engineer this. If you had to pick a word you hoped your career was defined by, and then we'll find the song. We'll get there. But what's the word, the feeling that comes from your career? Like his career was this.
His career. So we're defining my career, not necessarily my life. My career. Builder. Okay. Builder.
All right. We're on to something. Right?
Builder.
All right. Building from the ground up, that whole.
I'm just passionate about building, man. I love the game of business. I don't love all aspects of it. But I like building a business. I'm a woodworker as well, like you. So what was your last project? Just kind of curious here.
I did a nightstand.
A nightstand.
For that, some bookshelves, and not a shed. Not that.
Not a shed.
Didn't have
that. But that feels more like work.
That's real work. What about you?
My last project was a sofa table. I did it out of walnut, and then I think it had a burled like maple top. It was really cool. It had like a little contrast to it.
Okay.
Tapered legs and some splines and some brass on there.
Where do you get your wood from?
I get it from a variety of places, but you can find some really good material from Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
You got to be careful because you got to find dry wood. So bring your wood meter for all of you wood nerds out there. Your moisture meter, excuse me. I get it from shout out to Chloe at Urban Slab and Timber. So they one of their business, they tear down trees here in Nebraska, right? And then they dry it, and then they'll sell the lumber. So you get some really cool wood from that place.
Wow.
I can't think of the other place I go to now too. There's another hardwood dealer. If you want some really cool exotic wood, you can go to Woodcraft.
Okay.
Is that the one on
I think so,
Woodcraft
yeah.
or Woodsmith?
Woodcraft.
Woodcraft, 144th and Center.
Mm-hmm.
You get some really cool stuff there.
Okay.
Got some canary wood for my desk that I built. So
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Well, for folks who are listening to this today, they want more information about you, Prosper Spark. Where do you want them to go?
Yeah. I think there's two things I would say, but mainly it's the first one. I know my marketing department maybe prefer I say some other stuff, but in all seriousness, like least salesy as I possibly can be here, is you can have a quick conversation with me for the low price of free $99, right? Like just have a call with me. I just love talking to new people. I love helping people. I like getting paid? Of course we do. We are all in business, right? But I say that because a lot of times people don't know what they know, or they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what's possible. They don't know their options. So just a lot of times just have a call with me, right? A lot of times, even in a 30-minute call, you can tell me your problems, what your situation is. And generally on that call, I can lay out options, ballpark, costs, timelines, so on and so forth. So then you at least can make an informed decision. And so if anybody's listening, they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, we're not going to spam you. We're not going to hound you. Like, just have a call for your own selfish benefit, and we will offer some solutions. And if you do business with us, great. That's what I'm hoping for. But if you don't, you don't, right? Now you've learned something and you've gained something for your business that helps you. So that's the number one thing is just go to our website, click the little button that says book a call, click it, pick a time. It'll send you a meeting invite. And just get information from me.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of spending hours and hours Googling, we'll just give you the answers. The other thing, if I said there was two, the other thing is like, there's like that, but a paid version. You can do like a 4-hour like business operations. I will map all your, map some processes at a high level, and then kind of do that at frankly, just a much higher level and a more comprehensive level. And that's a good way to start. It's like, okay, I know I've got a lot of things going on. What are my options? I've got all these different processes. That's a great way to go too. But the first one is by far is like, if you're going to do anything, just do that. It's not going to cost you anything.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to bug you.
Yeah.
So,
just a little bit of time.
do that.
Can do a whole lot of good work so you're not building built-in bookshelves with treated wood. Or exactly some other issue.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, at bare minimum. At least you're like, they came to learn about systems, automation, spreadsheets, but they stayed
about woodworking,
because they learned, okay, he knows what to not do when it comes to building all this stuff in layers.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having this conversation with me today. Seriously, it was fantastic. And for the listener who pulled up a chair or the viewer on YouTube, however you found it, thanks for checking it out. I don't know who we're going to have next week, but I know it's going to be awesome. I know you're going to want to hit subscribe because I also know you're not going to want to miss it. So that's the Biztape. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.